Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
Mostly cloudy today, a few isolated showers, warm and humid, 86 the high. It's 65 and cloudy downtown. Quick charity, I started to talk about this golf event twice and failed both times because I can't look at clocks. Eric was very kind yesterday. I was talking about that dumb sandbox that I'm going to build, and then 5 years later tear out when my kids never use it. And they get something called sand fleas I'd never even heard of until yesterday, but everybody kept telling me everybody in my house will get them. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that. But he sent this and said, I'll give you sand if you mention this. And I said, well, you don't have to give it to me. I'd be happy to pay for it. But your event is good. It's a 6th annual Billy B Classic. This is up in Kent City. You know, so for the people beyond the ice wall.
Oh, gosh, yes.
The wildlings.
Where the wildlings live.
Yes. 4-man scramble. Taking the first 30 teams. It's at the Falls of Barber Creek. $240 a team. $60 per person if you want to jump in. $15,000 cash hole-in-one contest. $5,000 cash putting contest. 50-50 raffle. Hit the boat. Proximity awards. That means close, Joe. And dinner to follow.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to sign up? Call the Falls of Barber Creek to get signed up. It is the 6th annual. All the proceeds go to the Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. That's why I told him I would mention it.
By the way, we'll get to this in a little while, but Gordie Howe died.
He did.
What?
Yeah, at 88.
Yep. It was
just,
being reported about 45 minutes ago. And,
Yeah.
it's been confirmed by the Red Wings that
Oh, no.
hockey great Gordie Howe has passed away at 88. Not to make you laugh.
Right. Right. Jeff Worley is here with Jackyl. You guys are going to be at the Sandy Corley Memorial Run tonight at Rothbury. Let's turn that one on.
There we go.
Hi, Jeff.
Good, man. Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Good,
man.
Good to see you.
Yes, tonight was the third time we've done it.
Not bad, right?
Yeah, it's great.
It's
a great
perfect.
thing to do.
Bigger
It's
every
perfect.
year?
For the last 3, well, I think there might have been a year, but it's our third. We did it last year. you know.
Excellent.
And we made good friends with Rick Corley, and they asked us back, and it's it's for cancer research, all the benefits, and it's just
That's
a good
really
thing
good.
to do. Makes
Yeah.
us feel good.
Absolutely. They give away a bike there. You can camp out there
Yes.
all weekend. You play all 3 days?
No,
No.
we're in and out. We got to go somewhere else tomorrow.
You're in
We're not
Fond du
that
Lac
lucky.
tomorrow, I think,
Yes, Fond du Lac, whatever that is.
right? Yep.
I'm
That's
just
in
kidding.
Cheeseville.
You just
It's
say
Cheeseville, yes.
what you write on the back of your guitar or whatever,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
That's where we are tonight. Chicago.
I was just
How
texting.
long-
You said Gordie Howe died.
Yes.
Roman, the Jackyl bass player, is the biggest hockey fan in the world. As a matter of fact, on his neck is a Red Wings tattoo.
No kidding.
Really?
Yes, and he's going to be really sad today when I tell him, because he's like he introduced me. You can tell I'm from southern France.
I can't tell. No.
by my accent.
Right, yes.
Right.
He introduced me to hockey.
Okay.
And my first was at Kid Rock gave us tickets. We went to Joe Louis to
Yeah.
see the Red Wings. And that's when I got introduced to hockey by a man and his mother. And when I say a man, he was my age, and his mother, they sit in front of us. And I'm no Southern football, right? And I know how fans can be.
Yep.
So they hit the ice, and the little old lady stands up and screams at one of the other hockey players from the other team. And she's like in her 80s. Cut his blanking throat. And I'm in the right place here.
Oh, yeah.
And I never knew you
Yeah.
could buy a beer that big.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So then
For
I was,
$80
and I got
a
to
glass.
liking it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was great, but he'll
Yeah.
be sad, so I have to tell him. I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad we can bring you the death of the best hockey player in the history of the
All
game.
time, yes.
Thanks for
Yes.
coming in, Jeff.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. That's awesome.
See you later.
So the book, No Filter, Stories Better Left Untold, Volume 1.
Volume 1.
Which, how long have you been touring with Jackyl?
I drew the logo when I was in the 9th grade.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's basically the same band, me and my brother and Jesse. And then we killed 2 guys in 1998,
Okay.
and they dropped out. And then
Right.
we got
Deserved it.
Roman from the band Brother Kane, and
Right.
we've never had him. He's been in the band longer than the first 2. So we're kind of an original band that had a few guys. The first guitar player and bass player quit same night.
Yeah.
And the next morning, they've been preachers ever since. And that's what
wow.
we do.
Seriously?
Seriously?
Is
Serious.
that what that night where is that why they left the band? They had this
Like
come
the
to
calling, like
Jesus
the light
moment?
came through the window and
sort of. It was more like, and you'll see this in the book. Now, first off, the book's not a biography of the band. It's not an autobiography of me. It's history of the band. It's kind of like little stories that led me up to where I'm at today. And if you don't have a sense of humor, don't start in the entertainment business, number one, right off the start.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, agreed.
And it's just short stories. I call it a punk rock album literary. It's just the funniest stuff. I got things I see in gyms when you travel. You'll have to read that section.
Yeah.
And then celebrities and, so it after 22 years, I've had quite the collection.
It's pretty amazing
bet.
that you've had the core group of the band together for 22 years. You had a couple guys leave, but the rest of you have been there the whole time.
And we still love it. Because you know what? It's the reason this book's not a tell-all. Like, it's not going to be a regular rock and roll book. It is a comedy, a rock and roll comedy.
Yeah,
That's
right.
true stories. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Because we like each other. We don't.
Yeah.
I'm on the road with my brother, and we don't fight until we get home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We don't fight on the road because every day we wake up, and with Jesse, when we met Jesse and brought him in the band, and we took off as Jackyl, we all had the same mindset of what we want to do. So every day we get up, we're the only band I know that gets up before the road crew.
Oh, I don't doubt that, man.
Jesse and my brother get up and go look at the stage every morning, make sure the PA's in there. I can't be bothered, of course.
Right. Yeah.
They do
Still.
it every day, and it's just that work ethic and kind of kept us together. It's different than most bands.
Yeah.
But what the book has is probably like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Not
It has
necessarily
that,
a tell-all,
yes, but it's got the weird part of it.
yeah,
Okay.
oh, that's the part
Yeah.
I most want to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the funny stories because a lot of bands have great stories,
Yeah.
and sometimes it gets into like, the deep, seedy stuff.
Well, let me make this
which is
clear.
always great, but
Let me make one thing clear. I call it funny, and every story in there is hilarious to me. Now, some people might not think that. It depends on what you call funny.
Some might
Right.
be like absolutely horrified.
Yes. I toured with a guy, and of course, I don't use no names in there. I use the old Southern expression to keep from having any kind of legal thing.
Yeah.
This fella.
Yeah,
Or this
okay.
guy.
Right?
yeah.
But I toured with a guy that literally, when he couldn't find a girl, he carried around with him not a mannequin head, a cosmetology head.
Oh, gross.
Oh no.
Cosmetology head is like the Cadillac of heads, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
That's what,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what they always say when
Yeah.
you're talking to a head
Smooth and
collector.
cushy. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
what they
first
say.
night the first night I encountered it, I walked into a room, and he's laid on the floor, and there's a table in the middle of the floor with a head on it, and lights on it, and it looked like he had melted wax and cut its hair, right?
Oh, but that wasn't
And I
melted
walked
wax.
over- I come in and said, dude. And I walked over and I got ready to put for some reason I wanted to touch her.
Oh,
And
no.
as soon as my fingers got near, he went, don't touch her. And that's when he told me what he did with it.
Okay.
Oh, at least he told you.
Oh wow.
I didn't even know the mouths were open on those things.
He's not
Did
worried
he-
about the mouth.
He's just trying to blind it?
Right. And the funny
Oh.
part is about a cosmetology head versus mannequin. A cosmetology head has a silver ring around it where you can put it on the table. He would tell me he likes to act like she's wearing a dog collar.
God, that is
Wow, that
so
is crazy.
disgusting.
And that's one of the
Oh, my
guys who
God.
turned to the ministry. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You're slick, okay?
Yeah, he is.
No filter. Stories better left untold. Jeff Worley. He's with Jackyl tonight, the Sandy Corley Memorial Run,
Yeah, come
28th
out.
annual. Jesse James Dupree, we've had
Yes.
him on a dozen times, in person, over the phone. Does he have lead singer syndrome? Because if he does, they're like, you're playing with Wayland, our friends in the
Yes.
band Wayland. Mitch is a self-acknowledged man who has lead singer syndrome. And so it's funny to hear him tell stories about the times that he got that little bit of poison where he's like, no, that's not how you do it. I'm the lead singer. Because Jesse seems like he'd be like that, self-aware, but maybe still have it.
He's not unlike anybody else. That's why we've worked together for so long. When I first met him, I knew he was the guy. He played in another band. He played when we were coming up. It was us, Jackyl as it is, and without Roman, the two guys that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
But our favorite band that would play in a town was a band called PG-13, which Jesse was the singer. And we'd go see them. The first night I saw him, I said, "That's our guy. We need." People would tell us, "You need a real singer, and y'all could go somewhere." And then he was with his band, so we finally ended up getting together. But he's like nobody else. He can get it, but we're not like anybody else because I'll check him about 2 seconds on that.
I've known him long
Okay.
enough.
Okay, yep.
It don't work that way. I know he's the focal point of Jackyl, but you got to understand something. We make all the decisions. We've been together so long. He's our manager of all things,
Yeah.
because we lost $1 million hiring a manager. that we fired and won the case.
Really?
Wow.
Yep, that's in the book.
Wow.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
So he
hired-
just thought, do it yourself.
Well, the problem was Geffen signed us and didn't expect us to do nothing. John Coloner signed us to pee off David Geffen. He thought, if I bring these country people up in here, they're going to really, because, David Geffen stories.
Right.
I don't know if you know about him.
Sure.
But then all of a sudden, the Lumberjack takes off, selling 15,000 copies in Portland, Oregon, Anchorage, Alaska. This is a week.
They thought they were going to sign you just to bury you to annoy someone. They had that much money that they were.
Well, first we lost $1 million in the first month the record come out because we did our first video. We begged for a $15,000 budget, and we filmed it in 2 days with just a guy and a camera. And by the Monday morning, the video cost $1,015,000. You'll have to read about it in the book.
Wow.
So we got sued.
God.
Luckily, we did because they invested so much money into us. All of a sudden. Well, yet that we got to make them big to get our money back.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for this.
Right.
Yeah.
But what we did with the manager was that the record went gold, and literally John Coloner and the guys at Geffen went, "We need to talk to your manager." And we said, "You looking at him? Who's the manager?" I guess, well, we are. Jesse does it.
Yeah.
And then, no, you got to have a real manager. So we got this guy, and it lasted. We decided 6 months. If it don't work, pay you what you owe you, out you go. It didn't last 6 days with Jesse because it don't matter what. Jesse will not go to sleep until he makes the phone call that other people are supposed to be making.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
if it's something he's gonna call too, he can't stand it. He's a control freak, and I love the man for it.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of responsibility off me. He's gonna do it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we
And
just
once everybody realizes that, okay, we're good to go.
Right, exactly. So we have a standing. We don't have no meetings like bands. We don't have to have these long, drawn-out meetings that cost money. It's standard practice.
Right.
Make me as much money as you can, and if you think I ain't gonna like it, call us. Right. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's our
Yeah.
contract. You
Right.
know?
I
And
like
it's-
it.
I've got a question. Going back to Geffen and
Okay.
how the music industry used to be. Nowadays, when you hear bands get signed, essentially they're borrowing money from
Well, you
the
borrowed
industry.
then.
It was the same thing then.
Oh, absolutely. Our first record's probably approaching over 4 million now, and we'd seen our first, and it came out in 1993,
Yeah.
August 11th. We've seen the first positive royalty check 2004.
Get out of here. Really?
Come on.
And it come in for like 180 grand, but at the bottom it said we owed Brendan O'Brien, the producer, 3/4 of that. So by the time that leveled out, it's because we was only getting a nickel a record. I mean, you had to sell 1 billion records for anything.
Wow. And so if you have the first big album, then you can have a
If
more
it's a
favorable
one album,
deal
absolutely.
later
it's like
on.
An actor gets a good. If you win something, they're gonna come to you tomorrow. You do 1 album deals, but it's nothing like today. Our record deal, I'm gonna say, was probably one of the last big ones, only because of John Coloner. And what you don't realize, the most of the record budget's not making the record. Ours was $750,000. $100,000 for the record, and the rest is what you're going to pay as the artist to put posters and records out in stores and promote it. You're
Really?
paying for it, yes.
Which is
Wow.
crazy because you think you're signing with that big company so that they'll do those things. But
Absolutely. Have you
at
seen
least that's
Vinyl?
what
Have you
the-
watched any of Vinyl on HBO?
No, I heard
Couldn't
I
get
heard it
into
was
it.
boring, so I never tried.
You're
Sorry.
killing me.
No, I'm just being honest with you. Jeff
It
Worley's
is
here, by
kind
the
of
way,
boring
from
in places.
Jackyl.
What they did was made too many episodes,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's so true of how it was when we got signed. The way it was, the best thing John Coloner ever told us was don't take tour support. We opened for Kiss and we showed up in a van.
Yeah.
Trickster, you ever remember them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Yeah.
there. Was going to be the second act. This was when we first come out. First show we ever did in my hometown of Greenville. We show up in a van. Trickster's ours in a bus. They're supposed to be second because they're still kind of big in the
Right.
early 90s.
Right.
As soon as we get there, Gene Simmons comes back, goes into Trickster's dressing room and goes, "Y'all on first, Jackyl on second." So it made them mad.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Wow. Yeah.
And then Gene come in and he was real. And the reason he did it, and he talked to Jesse for 30 minutes. And when he got through talking, he looked at Jesse. Jesse talked to him. He didn't say nothing. He's sitting there with the Gene Simmons' arms closed, right? Jesse was telling him all this stuff, business. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then Gene went, "Jesse, you're going to have to repeat every word you just said because I don't understand none of it." They told us don't take tour support. And that's what pays for these buses. One hit wonders, they're not making no money unless they're just spending money. You're never gonna get a check. These
Yeah.
kids have a song on the radio, boom, they might sell a gold record. You ain't getting a check.
Yeah. If you guys were coming up right now, You're 20 years old. You signed a deal similar in structure as far as how it related to other bands and everything else. Right now in today's music world, would you be doing it 25 years from now?
It don't exist like that.
It doesn't work. There's not even a comparison.
If I went back and was 20, I would. And I wouldn't take nothing from my career. I've loved it. And it's been a journey of my life that's taught me. As the book will say, this book is a lot for kids to learn in here. In my book about being on the road and stuff, it kind of clears up most rock and roll books are about the 2 hours on stage and a little bit after and the partying and the debauchery and all that. Mine's the other 20 of what you have to deal with and the things that you know, and I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I'd become an entertainment lawyer. I learned real quick they get their check right off the bat.
Yeah, they do.
And it doesn't matter how many records
we got
you sell.
signed, our lawyer, when John Colander was going to sign us, he signed us the night he came out. Our lawyer said, he's going to watch a couple of songs, he'll be gone, don't think nothing big. He walked down to the front of the stage and stood between me and Jesse and pulled out a notepad wearing a white suit. And you know what the man looks like, right? John Colander from Aerosmith fame, his beard, he looks like John Lennon.
Right.
Yeah.
And this guy in the middle of a bunch of Jackyl fans in a barn in Atlanta.
Right.
Okay.
Standing down front taking notes. That book, he's done the albums from Sammy Hagar, Aerosmith. That's where he writes his notes. And he signed us that night.
Wow.
Literally signed us that night. Nobody ever expected it.
That's awesome.
He wasn't going to let us go, and I have no idea why, but
Because of how they took advantage of artists, basically, the record companies. Do you ever give them the finger like, well, you got yourselves into this. You're where you're at now because of you. Do you ever indulge in their misery?
I look at it two ways. Bands have to be smart. We've never understood somebody ripping me off. I can't be ripped off. You know why? Because we look at the contract as a band every freaking night. We know where the money's coming from. I'm not going to trust it to nobody. How do you get ripped off? You got to do a little work. You can't lay up on the bus, and you can't be Mr. Rockstar. You know, and the bird I'm giving to my book's the bird to the industry. I want to make all my money back that I lost on this thing. You know, it just takes time, and it's a long road, and you better like it. And I'm not trying to stifle any kid's art.
Yeah.
But it's like I tell my son, it's a long road, and you know, you got to be better than everybody else. You got to get up earlier than everybody else. You got to be there when nobody else is. I said, you see your Uncle Chris, you see Jesse. They could lay in the bus and get up and go on stage. No.
I know. So the first time we saw you guys was for Wingstock here back in like 2007, maybe 2008. You guys played a gig at the local minor league ballpark. Snoop Dogg was the headliner.
Yeah, that was a great day.
So that was the first time we ever saw you, and I knew about the band because I had heard you guys over the years, but had never seen you in person. And so I'm standing on the wings of the stage. Jesse walks up wearing his cowboy boots, no shirt on, and hands me a bottle of Crown Royal and says, "Take a nip." And I'm like, well, this is never going to happen again. So
let's do it.
I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so then I watched you guys go out, and you won over a crowd where I don't know how much of the crowd was there to see you. There's a lot of Snoop Dogg fans. And it was a show where there's a great variety in the acts.
Yeah.
And so then a few weeks later, you guys were in Nashville, and Jesse came in with us with the radio station. We're on there. And all of a sudden you start talking to him, and I'm like, holy crap. And that's when I started to learn about sort of the way you guys work as a band and the fact that he had his hands in 50 billion other things. Yeah. And I got a taste, and we all did, of, oh, wait, this isn't just some guy who drinks Crown Royal, gets bombed, sings on stage, shoots a gun that's a mic stand, cuts something up with a chainsaw,
cracks
and then goes
a whip.
and then goes and sleeps away the rest of the day. There is a lot behind this.
He don't sleep.
Right?
I literally have times told him, and when filming of the Full Throttle, one of the biggest shows for us a year is the Sturgis Thursday night at the Throttle.
Sure.
Right? We're talking major. He don't sleep at all when he gets there. Especially when the show was filming, he would never go to sleep. He just don't.
Too much to do.
Yeah, he's and if I got to get bugged by something, you have to tell him, dude, pick one today. You know.
Yeah.
But hey, we're brothers, and you can't tell a man what to do when he gets on stage and does his job. You know.
Jeff Worley's with us. He's with Jackyl. He's from Greenville, South France, as we talked about earlier. They're part of the Sandy Corley Memorial Run. That festival's going on tonight and tomorrow as well. It started last night. The 28th annual. Hired Guns tonight, Wayland, and then Jackyl tomorrow night. Big Cadillac Candlebox and Great White. The book is No Filter: Stories Better Left Untold. Let me put you on the spot. One story about you that's embarrassing to tell that you wish could be forgotten by everyone.
I don't get embarrassed easy.
Okay, one that should be embarrassing to a human.
But
I don't
can
either,
tell you
but
this.
To a regular person.
We the first time we tried to get a record deal, we drove from Atlanta, Georgia to Los Angeles. We had a guy out there that was going to help us get into some clubs, the whiskey, and play this and bring down some A&R guys. Mm-hmm. We had no money. A club owner in Atlanta let us borrow $2,500. Mm-hmm. Me and Jesse went and rented a rental van and immediately took it to his buddy, and they took a blowtorch and cut the back bumper off of it. And we connected a trailer, and we commenced to drive and living on $6 a day to Los Angeles.
So that was the budget. You guys knew what you had.
That's what we ate on that for years. And let me tell you, the other two guys in the band, Tom and Jimmy, I can say this about them then. They were when you got $6 to eat on, but you got to have a 6-pack and a pack of cigarettes, brings it down to a
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what area you're in.
I used to take my one guy into the Taco Bell. We used to have the sauces out front.
Yep.
You know why they took them away? Because of my old buddy. He'd wear a trench coat in and not buy nothing. Mm-hmm. And put his pockets full of hot sauce and then go back, and we'd take him down the road and he'd buy a 59-cent Jewish weenie from the Jewish deli and cook it in a hot plate inside the hotel room.
Dude, that's a new fad diet you just created.
It is.
But we took off to Los Angeles and got out there, and of course you could see the Geffen records, Capitol records. Nobody come and see us at the clubs. But the first night I went on stage at the Whiskey, I had a pair of chaps, and I don't remember if I made them. We were so poor. But our thing is no fog. We hate fog. Jesse messes his voice up. No fog. We don't need fog. If you don't look good on stage, just stand in there, give it up as far as we're concerned. Move on, right?
Yeah.
You shine like Jerry Lee Lewis said.
Right.
I shine like gold when I'm up there. Just cut the lights on. But I hit the stage, and this crazy Los Angeles guy that almost got his teeth knocked out started pumping fog, but it wasn't fogging. It was just juice, and it's like baby oil.
Oh, wow.
All over my feet. Now, we're playing one A&R guy standing here, and the bartenders that we already show up. We don't have road cases. Our stuff's in blankets, right?
Okay.
It's the roughest thing you ever seen.
Dude.
Oh, it's the first note I hit, my feet went out from under me. Not only did the chaps split, the whole front split. And my legs hanging out.
Makes it easy for the groupies.
No, I was not. There was no groupies there. It was just the one guy and the janitor.
That makes it easy for them then. Yeah.
But the thing was, I wasn't embarrassed because my junk was hanging out. I was embarrassed because I did a split, right? But I was just dancing like I was on ice, and it was the most embarrassing. But that, for me, all I'm going to say on radio is that was embarrassing. But I'm more involved, as you'll read in my book, about trying to embarrass other people. They call me the instigator. I'm the guy that'll go in and scream a thing and walk out of the door.
Perfect.
Just to see what happens, you see.
I like it.
Good for you.
I find that's very relatable
You have a
to my
lot of people
life.
disagree with that.
No Filter Stories Better Left Untold. It is available on Amazon.com.
Now, one more
and a whole bunch
thing.
of other
Also, if you need to get in touch with me, it's in all forms on Amazon. You can go download it, order color copies with me with stars. Everybody from Brian May to Peter Fonda to Ted Nugent. You know, our first time we came to Michigan, Ted brought us up here before we were signed to play the Whiplash Bash Tour. That's our first introduction to even Grand Rapids. Then we ended up getting a record deal after that.
Are you able to talk to Ted Nugent like he's a normal human being anymore, or is he just flown like just out of this world so much that you can't have a conversation?
Well, no, he's Ted. From the day I met him, he's the same Ted. But the thing is, we did this tour, and then we ended up getting signed about a year and a half later, and ended up in Los Angeles at a recording studio, Rumbo Recorders, owned by the captain of Tennille.
Yeah.
Now that's in the book. When we walked in the door, we didn't know it. We were in the studio over here. Ted Nugent and the Damn Yankees were finishing up their second record right here, so we didn't know Ted was there. And right across from us was the Traveling Wilburys.
Wow.
Nice.
Yes, dude. And I'm telling you, that's Jeff Lynne, who was one of my heroes.
Tom
George
Petty.
Harrison, Tom Petty. And they had told us, no drugs. And we don't really do drugs, but no smoking weed or nothing, right? So we walk in the first day to record, and we've been read the riot act. But these old dudes over here coming out from under their studio, Tom Petty and them, that was my introduction.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
They
What are they going to do to
Oh,
that?
yeah, and who's
They
going to tell
were.
them something? Yeah.
They were. But, you know, one day me and Jesse came from lunch and opened the door of the studio, and I walked straight into George Harrison and Jeff Lynne, and all I could say was, hey. I walked on, they left, you know, in there.
Oh, my gosh.
And what affected me, in that day, we had a rental car. See, Jesse, and also in here is Jesse Keel's rental cars. You can't tell you the thousands of dollars of rental cars that he's destroyed.
Just a bad driver or reckless?
Yes, and yes, and
aggressive.
yes, and
Okay,
yes,
okay,
and
all of it.
My wife, if she knows he's driving me in a car, get out.
Okay.
He's the worst driver.
She'd rather you like ride with a drunk driver or something.
2 weeks ago, he left the stage and was taking a rental car back in Panama City and totaled it.
Oh my God! He saved you guys some money. Get Uber.
Crazy.
You got to do that.
He'll have if we're in a rental car, he'll put the laptop here, and he's driving, and the phone. But he talks to you like this.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous.
He's the worst danger in the world.
But yes, he's a bad driver, but he did it. He does it for funny stuff. He just go in a parking lot and just.
You know what? That's cool, man. You buy $9 worth of insurance, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
I'll tell you one last little thing about the book. As far as him, we were recording a demo in Memphis, and we were going to eat at a spaghetti warehouse. It was literally you could see it 100 yards from the studio, but you had to go on a dirt road parallel to a parking lot. He backed a rental van with us in the back as fast as a person can back it for a mile. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Up until where he went up into the spaghetti warehouse to where we couldn't get in the front door, and the people coming out the door to get out, so we climb out the back, go in and eat, come back out. He kicks it forward this time, going out a gravel road right next to a parking lot in an office building like this. Needless to say, he knocked the windows out of 25 cars. They thought machine gun fire. There was gravel on top of the cars. We had to figure. I just went in and got him out of the studio and said, "Dude, they want you out here."
Yeah.
Somebody's looking for you.
Yeah, crazy stuff like that. I'm not sure how that got paid
awesome.
for.
Tonight, Hired Guns, Wayland and Jackyl. Tomorrow night, Big Cadillac, Candlebox, and Great White. SandyCorley.com for all the info. That's the double J. Jeff, great to meet you. Well,
Thanks for
probably
having me,
great
guys.
to meet you again. I'm sure
Yes.
we met on the wings that day.
Thanks
It's
for
great to
having
sit
me,
and talk
guys.
with you. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is Rally from Jackyl. We're out of here. We'll see you later. It's 97.9 GRD Rocks.